Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about happiness, chasing your own happiness, putting your happiness in the hands of someone else. So taking it from you, giving it to somebody else, giving them the responsibility. So then you're chasing after your own happiness. You've given it to somebody else. You've made them in effect so powerful because they have the ability to make you happy. You can't do it yourself. You have to rely on them to do it for you. So I will be happy when I get this person. Okay. So first of all, like I said, you create everything inside first. So tones of your reality. So we're not going to go into every single thing that happens in your reality and say, how did I create that? How on earth did I make that happen? I didn't manifest that. Because stuff happens in life and we can't put our finger on what feeling created it, but it doesn't matter. Don't even go down that route because it will drive you crazy. Stuff happens in life all the time, doesn't it? Other things, and you don't try and work out how you did that. So don't try and work out in relationships. If something happens random and you can't put it down to something that you felt, just don't worry about it. Move on from that. Because what happens is, what I believe happens is, we're creating what we see in front of us, the vision. You know, we are like, there's like a projector inside of us, and we project what's in here onto the outer world, into the physical. And that's my opinion. But it's more tones of what's going on inside. So a feeling of what's going on inside, a general tone of what is in here we see out there. That's the best way to look at it, because otherwise you will drive yourself crazy trying to pin things down to something that you felt. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way I feel. And sometimes I will create an actual situation on purpose or not on purpose, complete accident, by vibrating that situation. And I know that immediately. But sometimes stuff happens, shit happens, and you don't know why it's happened. So please just don't question that stuff, because you will drive yourself crazy. Just sort of leave that alone and think, I don't know exactly what's going on here, so I'm going to put that to one side. Okay, it happened, but I can change it. I can make things better. That's the way that I look at it. So when you give responsibility for your happiness to somebody else, they can never meet that. They can absolutely never meet that. And when you get there, if you do get with them, then you will think, well, they're not treating me right, or they're not this, or they're not that. And you will be constantly chasing that happy in their behavior or in something else, constantly. And so you'll be chasing your tail the whole time. You'll never truly get there. When we give our happiness away to something, to a person or anything, when we say, when I get this, I will be happy. No, that's not how happiness works. I know it's not as easy as just saying, oh, I'm going to be happy now. Okay, I'll be happy myself. I get that, but it's definitely something to work at. It really is. And it's something that will take you forward in life. Once you get better at respecting yourself and putting yourself first, you will find that everything else falls into place, because it does. When your self-worth is high, other things just come to you, and it's not an effort to bring those things into your life. They just come much more naturally. So it's all about that. It's key to feel good in yourself. Yes, you can want a person, but as soon as you need them and you think you aren't happy without them, you're on the road to nothing really, because even if you get with them, it will not last, because those feelings will be within you and they will eventually manifest into reality. So if you can start from a point of respecting yourself, knowing that you're so empowering yourself, saying, hang on a minute. So you might be thinking, oh, I don't even know if they want me, or they've gone off me, or they're not interested in all of that stuff. You say to yourself, hang on a minute, I'm a catch. They are lucky that I am interested in them. That's the first thing to say. And then say to yourself, they know they're lucky that I'm interested in them. They can't believe that I'm interested in them. And why not? You know, there's great stuff about you. Why not? What's the point? If you keep talking to yourself about all of the reasons they're not interested, and they can't be this and they can't be that, then they won't be, because you are creating that narrative. So as soon as you change your narrative, stuff will start changing. Some people will say, oh no, self-talk doesn't work, mental diet doesn't work. I don't call it mental diet, because I just don't like that phrase at all. It's not that it doesn't work, it's just that if you're doing it in order to see a manifestation, then you're looking for it. And when you're looking for it, you don't see the results because you are observing. This is quantum, which I believe it is. If you observe something, it's going to behave differently than if you don't observe it, if you look away. So it doesn't matter what you do. If you're looking for the results, you aren't going to see them. So self-talk is brilliant as a life skill. So you're doing it all of the time. So when we talk to ourselves, and we talk to ourselves negatively a lot, and we go down a rabbit hole and we get annoyed about something, we're over and over and over it in our heads, and we're just building that vibration and building that vibration. So what we need to do is notice that and stop it, or swap it with something else. Swap it with something slightly believable, but in a more positive vein. And the better you get at that, the better life becomes in general. Everything unfolds better. I do that all of the time because I used to go down that rabbit hole and just go over and over and over stuff. Oh, I shouldn't have done this and I shouldn't have done that. Oh, and I did this and this happened and that happened. But it didn't help me. It just carried on. It allowed that vibration and that feeling inside of me to carry on and show me more of the same. But I don't do that now. And actually, I find that my head's not as full of chatter as it used to be. And if I ever notice myself doing that, I stop and I either don't say anything to myself or I swap it for a more positive perspective or whatever it is. But you don't do it in order to manifest. You do it in order to make your life better, knowing that the things that you want to manifest will come to you at some point. So you're not looking for it. You're not doing it as a technique. This is not a technique. This is a life skill that will take you forward and allow you to purposely bring things into your life into the future, and things will happen, and things that you've wanted a while back will suddenly show up in your life and you won't know why, but it's because you've changed your inner self. And as soon as you change your inner self, everything changes on the outside. So being happy in yourself is pretty much essential. So look at your life at the moment and think, what is wrong with my life? Nothing's wrong with it. I mean, there may be things that you don't like about it, but there's going to be things that you like about it. So write those down. Write down what's good about your life at the moment. Then write down what is great about this person. What do I like about this person? Why do I want them back? And you will probably find that there aren't that many things. There's probably not a whole list of things, just a few things that appeal to you about this person and mean that you want to be with this person. So when you see that it's not a huge list, it becomes much easier to think, okay, there are some good things about them, but they're not that awesome. They're no more awesome than I am. But I would like them in my life for these reasons. But I know that this is about me and it's not about them, because it isn't. If you're going to think to yourself, oh, but they're probably thinking this and they're probably thinking that, it's irrelevant what they're thinking. Absolutely irrelevant. I have changed people overnight. I have seen different versions of people that should never have been, purely by sort of wishing for it or feeling it. So really, you don't need to worry about that. And if I'd have thought to myself of what they were really like at that time, there's no way that they could change from this to this, but I don't believe that that person changes from this to this. I believe that you change what you feel about them and how you think about them, and then you just see that other version. It's nothing to do with how they're feeling. I mean, this is how simple it is. I've spoken about this before, but if you're new here, you probably haven't heard this story because it's quite an old video. But when my first boyfriend, or my first serious boyfriend, we'd been together for years. We got together when we were like just 14, so we were together for 5 years. Right at the end of that, I mean, he finished with me for somebody else. He ended it, and he had met this person before we'd finished. But it was completely my fault. I was so selfish, and I was just doing what I wanted, when I wanted. I didn't care. I felt completely invincible in the relationship. I thought I could do what I wanted. He would always be there. And he wasn't. But I knew what I was doing. I knew the way I was carrying on wasn't really acceptable, but I did it anyway. In any case, so he did meet somebody else, and then he ended it. And I wouldn't accept it for a week or so. I just wouldn't leave it. And I was going on and on. I thought I could talk him round. You will never be able to talk somebody round. When somebody decides to end it with you, you cannot talk them round. You might if they feel sorry for you for a couple of days, but they're going to go back to that decision. It's the worst thing you can do, is push at somebody when they're trying to move away from you. So I did that, and then I suddenly woke up to myself and thought, what the hell are you doing? Like, it's over. Clearly, at the moment, it's over. But deep down, I had this feeling that it wasn't over for good, but I did accept it because I knew I was making a complete ass of myself, and also it wasn't getting me anywhere. I thought, well, it's not actually happening. Nothing's happening. So I completely stepped away, and I really advise that you do this if you're in this situation, and I just let it carry on. I let his relationship with her carry on, and it was very awkward because she was on the same college course as me, but she was a year above me. But any case, it went on, and I would hear from people that it was going really well, they were really happy, and he was having great fun with her, and I would hear about stuff that was going on. So as far as I knew, they were in that relationship. There was no chance for us to get back together because he was happier. Basically, she was nice to him. So, why wouldn't he be? So I didn't for a minute think there was any chance at that moment for us to get back together. And I came home from college one afternoon and I thought to myself, I wonder if he regrets his decision. And I felt him regretting it. I just felt him thinking, oh, I've made a mistake. But I didn't really expect anything. I didn't expect anything to come from that. It was just a thing. It was because I lived in my head a lot, and I still do. And so things would go through my head and I would visualize stuff, but I didn't know what I was doing. And that same afternoon, the phone went. And it was him saying, did I want to go out for a cup of tea in the afternoon for a chat? And I still didn't think we were going to get back together. Up I went, and the first thing he said to me was, I've made a terrible mistake, which I imagined him saying, I really regret it. I want to get back with you, basically. And it came out of the blue, and it shouldn't have happened because he wasn't feeling like that the day before. I know he wasn't, for sure. And all of a sudden, with me feeling like that, my situation changed in just the blink of an eye because there was no resistance there. So what holds things back is resistance. There was no resistance there whatsoever. He then ended it with her and we were back together. It didn't last that long after that point because it was kind of winding down, really, the relationship anyway. But that's what happened then. So I got what I wanted, simply as that, without any resistance whatsoever. So when we don't have resistance, that's when things happen really on point and really quickly because our vibration on it is really pure. We're not mixing it up with, but it can't happen, but this, but that. Even though it's not something we think is possible, we just have that pure vibration, that pure feeling of that desire, and that's what ends up manifesting. So, and tons of stuff like that has happened to me throughout my life. It really has. Once, before I knew what I was doing, it would happen a lot because I lived in my head a lot. And then obviously when I knew what I was doing, and I know that I can do that, and I completely know that. And for me, it is not about the other person, it's all about me. And I just don't even consider that other person's free will. I don't mean that in a horrible way, so I don't care about you. I don't mean that. I just mean, to me, it's not a factor. It's not at all. It doesn't come into my thought of but if they're feeling this, if they're feeling that. Don't even consider it. I don't even consider it, and it does not affect anything. So I can only go with how this works for me. So we'll go back to happiness now, don't we? So placing your happiness in your own hands, knowing that the stories that you tell yourself will eventually, tones of those will show up in your reality. So if you give your happiness away and give somebody else the responsibility for giving it back to you, you'll never get there because you've put them out of reach, you've put them on a pedestal, and you're stretching all the time, reaching for something outside of you that you have decided is outside of you when it's not, it's inside of you. So if you can get to that point where you understand that, understanding it is the first thing. And once you understand that your happiness is your responsibility, so even say that to yourself, my happiness is my responsibility. Anything that you can to empower yourself and give yourself that momentum around that feeling that your happiness is your responsibility will really, really help. It's all of these little things that help. And so making that decision that that person is lovely, you want to be with that person, there's lots of great things about that person, but you are more important. It's all about your feelings. It isn't about their feelings. And then I would just put that to one side for a moment. If you really feel like, but I will be happy when I get them, just make that decision today that actually that's not right and that's never going to move me forward where I want to be. So let's step back a bit and see what I can do, see how I can work on myself, and make that decision and then do what you need to do in order to get to that point. So keep talking to yourself. Remind yourself of the good things about you, why they are lucky that you want them that you want them in your life, and remind yourself about all of the good things about yourself. And I want it when it's not going to be that much effort. I want it when it's not going to exhaust me, when I'm not constantly going to be thinking, what do I need to do to keep them happy? What do I need to do? That's another thing I will say. Please don't change yourself or behave differently in order to be with somebody or in order to keep somebody, because it's completely unsustainable. And the feeling that you have inside of yourself when you're trying to be something that you think that other person wants you to be is not great, and you can't sustain it. What will happen is you will slip up and your true self will come out, and then all hell will break loose. It will, and then stuff will start manifesting your reality that you don't like the look of, because you tell yourself that when we're together they will love being with me just the way I am. I do not have to change anything in order to be with somebody else. I am me and they like me just the way I am. They enjoy my company the way I am. They like this about me, they like that about me. Because if you tell yourself that they don't like that about you, then you are setting yourself up for them not liking that about you. And then you decide they don't like that about you. So you avoid that area of your personality completely and you start just being what you think they think is the perfect partner. And of course, your energy then is all mismatched to what you want. So you will, even though you think you're doing all the right things, yes, you'll have spurts and they'll think, oh yeah, you're wonderful. But then you'll be constantly trying to keep that up. So your energy will constantly be chasing all of the time. And that energy is not what's going to keep you in that relationship. So they are lucky to have you. You are the awesome one. And they are lucky that you want them in your life. That sentence seems to be really difficult for me to say, but they are really lucky because you are awesome. Don't forget that. Okay, that's it. I hope that was useful. I hope that wasn't too much of a ramble. I know I went off the point a little bit, but hopefully I have got you to see that it's all about you and it's not about the other person. It's all about what's going on in here, not about what's going on out there, because what's going on out there is purely a reflection of this. So if you can change this, everything else changes. And you might not have to change it hugely. It might just be a few tweaks, and putting yourself first is key to everything. Not in a selfish way of saying, oh, I'm not going to do anything for anybody else because Evie said I need to put myself first. I don't mean that. I mean putting your feelings first and knowing that you are this is your reality, so you're number one in it. It's all about you. Everything revolves around you. So yes, be nice to other people and do nice things for other people, but if you need to say no to somebody or to something, then say no. If saying no is in your best interests, then say no. Okay, I might do a video on the art of saying no and how saying no over the last couple of years has really, really helped me in life. It really has, because I used to say yes to everything for fear of upsetting people or, feeling like I should do things. And I'd end up doing all kinds of things I didn't want to do, but I never do that now. I will still do something if it really helps. If I kind of feel like, oh, I don't really want to do that, but I know it's going to really help someone else, then I will still do that. But, more often than not, if I don't want to do something now, I will say, no, I'm really sorry, do you mind if I don't do that because, well, no, I don't really want to do this because, and people don't mind. That's what I've really found, that when you say no, people understand. When you give them the reason for not wanting to do something, they completely understand. Rarely has anybody been offended. I don't know if anybody has ever been offended when I've said no. Anyway, I'm going completely off the subject now. If you haven't been here before, then I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. A lot of content is relationship based, but then I used to write about relationships, so it's going to be it's my specialist subject, I think. So I offer Zoom coaching. Just pop onto my website and email me if you want to know what times I've got available. I'm always booked up kind of 2 weeks in advance, so you wouldn't get something within the next 2 weeks, but after that, I will see what I've got. Tell me where you are in the world, so that I know what the time difference is and I can give you the best possible time. And that is it, I think. My son has the Law of Attraction channel, Harrison Ellis, and I link to that at the end here, so his profile picture will be here. Just click on that if you want to check out his channel. And yeah, thanks for watching.